What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Dr. Splash, and shout out to Retro Man for the sponsorship of this video. One of my favorite characters in comics that's more, I'm not going to say obscure, but he definitely has a cult following, which is Swamp Thing. And today with the definitive series, we are going to establish just how strong Swamp Thing is when he's really locked in. What's the king of the green got in his bag? Before we start, like and subscribe if you have not already. 400 plus likes if you love this series would be absolutely amazing, and the best way to support is to tell people about my channel, share my content, and subscribe. Join the Yancey Street Gang. Also check out my Discord where we'll be hanging out. Now back on topic, I'm going to cover Swamp Thing throughout the ages and really establish his power level, and by the time you finish this video, you'll have a clear understanding or a definitive understanding of just how strong he is. Without further ado, let's begin. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Literally, the early golden age, like first few years of Swamp Thing sucked. I remember reading the omnibus. I was like, oh my god, he's ass. He's like getting taken out by guns and small car fires and shit. But then he locked in and actually tapped into the green, which we will further expand upon as we go throughout his history. But let's review some of his more interesting feats throughout time, right? In the early days, Swamp Thing showed his size manipulation was absolutely insane. For those that are in love with area of effect and things like that, he literally grew way larger than an island and casually crushed it. He was also strength-wise able to hold back Silver Age Superman, who was of course the version of Superman that was full of absolutely bullshit feats like sneezing away fucking solar systems, right? He told early Aquaman to fuck off in one of the funniest power negations ever. This shit made me realize, and if y'all get in the comments and let me know if you want to see it, Swamp Thing deserves a goon video, or aka a fucking spaz out video, crash out video, right? Because he gets hit by classic Aquaman's mind hacks, and mind you, this is one of the strongest versions of Aquaman ever. And Aquaman said, yo, you take my threat serious now? And Swamp Thing said, I think you're serious when you're threatening me, but I don't take you serious as a threat. I'm sorry, that shit was so funny. But the fact he shit on his telepathy at that point, when Aquaman can scale to some of the higher tiers in DC with telepathy, beings that can casually mind hacks the multiverse like old gods and new gods, yeah, that's insane. He was able to absolutely bully John Constantine, tossing him into the ethereal realms casually. And Constantine even said, if he wasn't so well versed in attacks like these and situations like these where you literally get thrown in an outerversal realm, he would have died. Like, he would have just conceptually been erased. That's fucking insane for someone to do when they're just having a bitch fit. Swamp Thing is capable of expanding the green, combining all fundamental forces, thus becoming the collective unconscious of existence itself, essentially God. Now, you could argue this is presence level. You could also argue this is just him literally being the level of existence itself, kind of like source tier instead of straight up saying presence tier, in my opinion. In the green, being able to do so makes sense, and you'll see further on as we continue his legacy why it makes sense. He put Captain Atom in this era, who is roughly in the Superman tier, I mean, could literally take on Helllord types. And he put him in an absolute fucking blender. Like, Captain Atom was cooked running down on Swamp Thing. Mind you, like I said, this same era Captain Atom battled Necron in his own realm, who later on even bullied the likes of Spectre. As champion of the green, Swamp Thing took down Anton Arcane, the champion of the black, or death itself conceptually, who is, according to the Justice League computer and tracker, a Trigon or Spectre tier power level, with Trigon and Spectre both being able to shake creation in DC, which, if you don't know, has infinite dimensions and then realms outside of dimensions themselves, so outerversal realms as well. So this is incredibly impressive. The green allows Swamp Thing to manipulate fundamental vibrations of creation, allowing him to travel to places like the Source Wall with absolutely no issue, obviously putting him in a ridiculous speed category. I don't really appeal to speed tiers anymore. I kind of just show the speed feats and compare them when doing versus battles, but it's incredibly impressive the speed he has. The green itself is also confirmed, like I said, to touch all realms within DC Comics creation. The Word, the sibling to the Spectre, views Swamp Thing as an absolute threat and someone that needs to be removed from the equation. If you're Spectre tier or Helllord plus tier in DC and you think this character has to go, that character is fucking broken, okay? Swamp Thing was able, with his essentially a biocomputer that connected to all of DC, was able to process the fundamentals of DC Comics up to even the presence in the Great Darkness, as well as what Superman and superheroes mean to comics. Well, original Anti-Monitor, one of the strongest characters, who, of course, as we've seen in recent developments, as everything's kind of canon now, he actually came from an either stronger power source that is literally Source Dispatch 3 agents. Perpetua, of course, this is one of her agents. It's wonky scaling now, and he's always been broken, but he tried to erase Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing simply manifested and reformed back within the green. If you think you can run from the smoke with Swamp Thing by hopping through time, that's not true. Of course, the green connects to all time streams, so Swamp Thing, he can locate you any point in history, any kind of timeline, and snipe you. He had 0 issues in the 1980s, putting the pause on Etrigan while going all out. Mind you, Etrigan is a high tier within Hell itself, which is an outerversal realm and has layers within it. And being a rhyming demon, this means he has status. He's also been able to take on the likes of Spectre and even rip his face off. He's incredibly powerful, and Swamp Thing said shut the fuck up when he saw him. Now, we've established he was broken back then after his first few shitty years in Golden Age. Is it the same case in modern eras? Absolutely. He put a 0 diff beatdown on green and arcane tier threats in Tefe Holland, which is essentially the daughter of the green and the black. So a hybrid agent. It's got folded fucking with Swamp Thing. Absolutely folded. He can superform himself and his biomaterial to essentially be anti-vampires. This is interesting, kind of makes me want to do a what if Swamp Thing took on all like fictional vampires. Let me know if y'all want to see that, because that's Big Swamp, all right? He hates vampires. He casually takes on threats to existence like the Rot, which is capable and shown of easily taking over Supergirl tier characters, possessing them and completely overriding their power. He was beyond magic and spells that contain the likes of John Constantine and Zatanna. Zatanna literally has magic that allows her to escape the comics themselves, as shown in her recent comic. If y'all want to see Zatanna coverage, let me know in the comments down below. He literally just overpowered this magic, however. It was nothing to him. Broke out of it easily. He was also able to snipe Nightmare Nurse and a false Swamp Thing from outside of time and space conceptually. Like, they were literally beyond the bounds of that. Swamp Thing saw the bitch, saw she was tripping, making one of him, and he was like, hey, bitch, come here. The fact he could do that's absurd. He absolutely bodied time gremlins from beyond nothingness itself. Beings from fathomless, primordial thoughts, and they got a race running down on him. Evil energy that was stated to be extra-dimensional and from beyond dimensions themselves infested him, but through the coaching of Superman, who's of course always around for some bullshit feats, Swamp Thing easily overpowered it and cleansed it. He was also faster than Kid Flash, who at the time was amped by the Rot. Of course, I don't have Kid Flash on like Wally West here, but he is still tapped into the Speed Force, and the fact that he was also tapped into the Rot makes him even more powerful, and he was able to tag him pretty easily. He also was able to no-diff Etrigan the Demon in modern settings as well, with Etrigan even conceding defeat pretty handily. The fact that he's done it consistently throughout time is very impressive. He was also once again able to take down Arcane in the forces of the Black, making this tier threat, the Trigon Spectre tier threat, being able to taken down by Lochner and Swamp Thing, pretty consistent throughout time. He also jumped the shit out of modern Superman. Whether or not you love Superman, most characters don't even want to fuck with modern Superman, and the fact that he was able to run down on him and give him a really fucking hard time and jump the shit out of him is crazy. He was able to root the Justice League Dark against cosmic forces of the Between, which is stated to be beyond existence itself. This outerversal pool was trying to take them in, and Constantine knew that Swamp Thing was literally strong enough to negate this for at least a time. He was capable of also absorbing the green into himself, not even becoming just a champion, but literally the entire representation of the green, which is extremely broken. Swamp Thing is later on able to tap into art itself, including the comics, narratives, and even how readers perceive things. So even with the insane outer versal scaling he's already had, the Green's shown it's even on a narrative level, and it can even extend further into comics and real world itself. Comic narratives and real worlds, rather. An aspect of the world tree of creation resides within Swamp Thing himself as well. Now, if you ask me, I don't think the world tree is as weaponized in DC as it is in Marvel, but still, it contains the cosmos, contains the different realms, and it's still incredibly impressive. And finally, just to reaffirm, the Green does indeed connect to the real world itself. Wherever the Green is, Swampy can go. So yeah, that explains why he's so fucking broken. Consistently, he can take on the highest tiers in the Justice League. He's a Hell Lord to Hell Lord plus tier threat. When locked in, he's even been able to ascend to the likes of Source tier, and his consciousness can even merge and take over for time for the presence. Incredibly impressive shit, and I want to know from you guys, what do you think of Swamp Thing? I think he's one of the more impressive characters in fiction, one of the hardest to take down, and definitely one of the hardest to put down for good because of the Green. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and let me know who you think he should face in a versus battle. Anyways, it's been your host, Dr. Splash. And remember, it's Yancey Street, bitches.